Coming up next is Terry Payne with some public information you might find interesting.
A gray winter day along the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail has its own kind of beauty, and here with me once again is Trails Coordinator Ken Freeman. Ken, you know the trails here throughout the City Parks Network, and they are beautiful no matter what the weather, right, Ken?
Absolutely. You know, sometimes these kind of winter gray days, as you've already mentioned, really highlight some of the beauty of nature around the trails.
Yes, and here we're standing on the Valley Street Creek Walk Phase 2. Ken, you're the expert. You're going to need to explain to us what that segment of the Greenway is.
Sure, Terry. It sometimes seems a little confusing, but on the naming of the segments. But this segment of the trail, as you said, is part of the Valley Street Creek Walk. And Valley Street Creek Walk is that stretch that goes from Grand Avenue back to our north, down here to Belding Avenue, which is just here in front of us. And that stretch has the trail which parallels Valley Street and runs along Hot Springs Creek. And so we call it the Valley Street Creek Walk. And there are then, of course, several different segments of it based upon when funding is available and what parts we could get built when. And this stretch was the second part of that built in Valley Street Creek Walk Phase 2.
Now, we see people using it and enjoying it already. Is it complete?
This little section here is virtually complete. There are still a few final touches to be done here for it, but it's open for use, and we encourage people to use it. One of the things that we have now a steel bollard, which is a steel pipe inserted in the trail centerwise down here near Belding Street, and that is to prevent vehicles from inadvertently driving onto the trail thinking it's a driveway or something else. And so that's now in place. We were able to remove the barricades which had been there. So now we're wanting people to go ahead and use it. Some had already been using it, which was fine, but now we want to make sure everyone knows that it is open and ready for use.
Now, it's in such an interesting area where it's an industrial area with a lot of businesses, but it also borders a beautiful stretch of the Greenway that includes Friendship Park. Let's focus for a moment on the safety crossing, because that's a key element of this stretch of the Greenway.
It sure is. Trying to connect up this segment here from Friendship Trail by the Boys and Girls Club to here was, of course, a major concern, and one we wanted to take and do safely. To accomplish that, as part of this phase, a 10-foot trail. You might look like a sidewalk, but it's a raised trail on the Belding Street Bridge, connects from the trail, from Friendship Trail over by the Boys and Girls Club, across the Belding Street Bridge, and then with a 12-foot marked crosswalk over connects to where we are right now. And so it provides a continuous trail for users from here to the trail to our south.
And this was an issue that was very carefully studied.
Yes, it was
studied many times, finally ultimately approved by the Board of Directors, so that it would provide as safe as possible a crossing for trail users.
Yes, but before we had that crossing, the way to get to continue to connect with trail to our north upstream, users would have to take and go from where the trail is by the Boys and Girls Club over to Valley Street, which is an offset intersection, and you'd have to do a diagonal unmarked crossing and cars coming around the corners, and so it was not as safe as one would like. It was a temporary, but it was not as safe as one would like.
So now that you can come straight down from the area of the Friendship Park and on through to this Creek Walk Phase 2, what happens when you reach the end of Phase 2 and want to continue on the Greenway, Ken?
Well, that's a good question, Terry. People who don't mind a little out and back segment, it's not an issue, because I see people walking their dogs and going up. But
Right.
The very end of this segment actually ends in a temporary dead end right now, but by the creek. While we're waiting for that, the Valley Street Creek Walk Phase 3, which would be the bridge and a little segment of trail to actually connect on up to Runyon. So while we're waiting for that, for trail users who want to continue on to the north towards downtown and the farmers market area and transportation plaza, there is a way they can do that. They can, on this stretch, they use the safety crossing and come on this stretch, and then there is a driveway that goes between Sanders Building Supply building on Valley Street and their complex here on Belding. There's a driveway that goes beside their building on Valley.
Yes.
And you can take that and use that as a connection over to Valley Street, and then be on the bike path or the bike lane alongside Valley Street up to Runyon, which is a much shorter stretch of being on Valley Street, but and gives you more time on the actual off-street pathway.
Well, and we of course want to give a shout out to Sanders and the Sanders family for their cooperation and land donation to make this stretch of the Greenway possible.
Sure. The Bill and Charlotte Sanders and their son Ed have, their donation for this land for putting this trail on. Of course, we wouldn't have this trail here if it weren't for that, and we would be missing this wonderful scenic view of the water rapids here on Hot Springs Creek.
Right. Now let's talk about what's ahead. There are many people who are watching the Greenway development very closely, and they look forward to the day when we finally reach Lake Hamilton. We'll get there one day, and then you and I are going to be living to see it, but tell us what's ahead in 2012.
Of course, our very next thing that we want to try to do is the Valley Street Creek Walk Phase 3, and a grant for that through the Arkansas Recreational Trails Program, which are administered by the Highway Department. That has been approved for that, and it's working through the paperwork, to get that started here early in 2012. And completed, we hope, in either in late spring or early summer, and ideally we would like to have it done by Memorial Day.
And tell me why Memorial Day is so important, Ken. There must be a reason.
Yeah, oh yes, there is. Memorial Day is the annually is when we have a Do for the Parks Duathlon, which is a bike run race, which is a fundraiser for the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail, and it's held on Memorial Day annually, and the run portion is conducted on the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail, and we would love to have all of it this year be on the trail as opposed to having a little segment of it on Valley Street.
Wouldn't that be a great goal?
It is. It would be for those participants who have come year after year. They kind of look forward to seeing a new section done.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, Ken and his wife Tracy have conducted the Do for the Parks for many years. It's a labor of love as well as a fundraiser for trail development for the Greenway Trail, and over the years it's made a big difference, hasn't it?
Yes. It's been an exciting thing to happen, and of course we get lots of cooperation from lots of people to make that happen.
Yes, you do, but it's also a sporting event that people look forward to every year. There is no way to count all of the people that use the Greenway Trail as it continues to be developed. We just know it's a large segment of the community, because every time there's an issue that comes up with trail development, people step up and speak of the value that it has to the community and the quality of life that it brings. It has definitely showcased our own historic Hot Springs Creek and continues to do so as it's developed. So Ken and I both invite you to come enjoy this new stretch of Greenway. There are various places that you can park nearby and enjoy. A good idea would be to start all the way down at Hollywood Park, wouldn't it?
Hollywood Park, the Rotary trailhead
Yes.
and parking area there is a great place to start, with the restrooms and water fountains, and and it's a great place to start, and either go south down to Chelsea, which is the southern terminus at the moment, or this direction and come on up through here.
Well, thanks, Ken, for telling us about this new stretch of Greenway. And next week, we'll bring you more city news.